Okay, looks like we're live. It's been a while. I have to get back into all of the technical details of this. So let me just finish setting up the stream here. Okay, looks like I have a few watchers already. Please, if you are here, drop me a message in the chat so I know that you're here. I'm using some new streaming software. Let me just finish up everything and then we will get going. Okay. Ah, good. I see some chat messages coming through. I could crank up the volume a bit in your opinion. Thank you for that, Trans. The volume is at max here on my audio interface here. Okay, it's I haven't been streaming for such a long time. Maybe it is a year ago since I streamed, and I'm using a new software here now, so it's a little bit iffy to get everything going. But I have some chat messages coming through. Looks like we have 30 people already. Cool, cool. All right, got some chat messages coming in. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Please let me know in the chat where you're all coming from. This is cool to see. I wish I could see from in this new software here. I wish I could see how many people I have live here, but I can't. I can't see it. 40 on YouTube. And okay, let's see. Cool, cool. All right, so we have someone from Ukraine, Ireland, Tennessee, London, UK. Wow, a lot of people here. So good to see you, everyone from all over the world. Amersfoort from the Netherlands. Holland. CubeCraft, Germany. Hello there, Trans. India. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, well, it looks like we're all ready to go now. My chat is working. I see stuff coming in. So yeah, I'm ready to take your questions, guys. I'm going to be online for an hour, hour and a half or so, depending on how many questions we get today. So if you need help with anything, just drop it in the chat, and I'll do my best to go through all of them. Let's give it. I'm just going to check if everything is running on the my second laptop here while the questions come in. Don't hold back. And what do you need? What do you need help with? Let me know. I'm here to help you guys. All right. So here is a first question, and I'm testing this new software, and hopefully you can see the question on the screen here. But I'm just checking it on my YouTube as well that I have on the side. But the first question here is from Nikhil. Can you guide us? What type of project should we add in the resume? Give us an example. Okay, so the number one project that you can add in the resume, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is to have a home lab. That is the one of the best things that you can do. The in my opinion, especially a Kubernetes home lab, that is what will set you apart from all the other candidates. It also depends on what kind of role you're going for, of course. If you're going for cloud engineering, obviously you might want to prioritize cloud as well. But the thing is, with a Kubernetes home lab, it is such a big project to do actually. If you do it well, if you do it properly, then a Kubernetes home lab is the thing to go for. Oh, I see that the question has disappeared from the screen here. Um, let me just Okay, let me just do it again. Okay, hopefully it will now stay on the screen. That's what I'm trying to get here. So a Kubernetes home lab. And there are several reasons for this. So I also already mentioned it's hard to do. But the second reason is that Kubernetes, if you do it well, is set up through GitOps. And the great thing about that is that you can have your project as code available on GitHub. So that's what I have. And I have my home lab available to the public. And what you can do is you can build the thing and then you can document the hell out of it and make this beautiful project on your GitHub about it. And then on the one hand, you have your own little self-hosting hobby that you're continuously working on and adding to, but then you also use that as a professional asset. So the number one project to have on your resume, I would say, is a Kubernetes home lab. So if you have more questions about that, please keep them rolling in the chat, and I will do my best to get through all of them. Cool. Next question. This is cool. Where do you see the world of AI agents, automations going in the next year or so? N8N and the likes. This is an interesting question. Um, I mean, I am not a sage or a wizard in the sense that I think that I can predict the future in that sense. But what I see that it's something that's hugely popular on YouTube right now. I mean, there's also on school, there are huge communities around this and people starting businesses around it. So in that sense, it's a really interesting opportunity that's going on. I'm using N8N, Make.com, Zapier, that kind of thing for my own business. And it has a lot of potential, I think, to easily make automations. So AI agents, I hope that it is going to improve more. At this point, I have not managed to get an useful agent workflow going myself. Um, it all seems a bit too early. They're not that useful yet. However, yeah, I hope and I think it will improve in the next year or so. So yeah, the world of AI agents, that's a large topic. So when you bring it back to DevOps, I would love to see more agentic AI happening in DevOps as well. But at this point, only the GitHub Copilot that writes PRs for you, like based on the code, PR messages. That has been the most useful agentic thing that I have seen. It's not even really agentic AI, but at least that has been a useful thing, a useful addition to the DevOps toolkit. But yeah, that that's as far I see it going in the next year or so. But it's definitely useful skills to learn, especially for business and such like. Oh wow, this chat is on fire. So many questions. I have to be quicker than this. Holy moly. So good to see, guys. Thank you for tuning in and for being so active. So I'm going to see if I can get through some more. Um, oh, MediSecure, you can go away. Uh, see the question. Thank you for confirming that. I think the light in the background is slightly distracting. Other than that, looking great. Okay, well, that's an opinion. I actually think it's pretty cool, but it is something new I'm trying out. Man, it's hard. Like this software, it's not saving the chat, so every time I have to like scroll up. Okay. Um, what's the average time to complete the CubeCraft, considering that you are a beginner? So this is referring to our CubeCraft, my CubeCraft Career Accelerator, and if you are a complete beginner, I would say, depending on how much time you have, of course, I would say at least 6 months to complete if you're doing it full time. But if you're a complete beginner, I would think maybe a year is a realistic goal. But again, it all depends on how much time you have, how quick you learn, and how seriously you take it. But I would say 6 months to a year as a complete beginner. Then you can complete the whole curriculum, but that's basically only the beginning. Like when you have the curriculum, then you have a junior DevOps engineer level, but then your journey into a more senior engineer starts, and that's what we help you with as well. So hope that helps, and I hope to see you in CubeCraft. Your internship opportunity. If I want to specifically do the internship for 3 months, if that's possible, what will I get with that? So the internship opportunity for CubeCraft, what that is um, you join, and then as long as you're a member of CubeCraft, you will be tracking your progress. And then if you're still a member of CubeCraft, then when you leave, when you are applying for jobs and they ask for a reference, then I will give you a reference. I will tell them what they have done, what kind of experience you have, what kind of community member you are, and what kind of skills you have. But you have to be a member to do that. So if you stay for 3 months and then leave, you can list it on your CV, but we're not going to give you a reference. So that is how that works. Greetings from Bangladesh. Thank you very much. He learned a lot from my videos. That's nice to hear. Thank you. Um, let me see. Well, lots of messages about my course, but I don't want to talk only about my course here. So here, let's see. What's the best certification to get that stands out to employers? Um, well, the best Linux thing to do is to actually get hands-on experience. I love the project of building an Arch Linux system as sort of a benchmark, trial by fire kind of thing. But the best thing to do is to have the skills and to be able to talk about them. But in terms of certifications, there is the LPIC one. I like that one because it is uh, independent, vendor independent. So it's a general Linux system administration certification. Next, there is the um, Red Hat RHCSA, Red Hat Certified System Administrator. That's a really good one, but that will also tie you into Red Hat a bit. However, if you get the Red Hat certification, it does mean that you have Linux skills in general. So don't be too afraid about the Red Hat. And then there's also a CNCF one, and it completely slips my mind which one that is. But the CNCF has a Linux sysadmin certification as well, and that is also one that I recommend. Please look it up, or maybe someone in the chat can share it, and then uh, that's a good one to get. Let me see. I'm struggling to get an entry level DevOps job. Any suggestion? Okay, yeah. So there's so many suggestions that I can give here. Um, and this is hard, but it's also depending on where you are, right? And if you are located in the US, then generally in the US, they have a bit of a different attitude. So here in in Europe and in the Netherlands, there is such a thing as an entry level DevOps job. There is such a thing as a junior DevOps job. That's how I got started as well. But in the US, it's more seen as a more senior position, actually. And I think that's complete gatekeeping bullshit. I don't think that's correct at all. There's definitely tasks that a junior DevOps can do that the seniors don't want to do. There's still lots of manual toil and things that more junior people could pick up. However, if the market is like that, then that's how it is. So in general, what I recommend is if you're struggling to get an entry level DevOps job, then either try to get an entry level sysadmin job, and I would say getting an operations job is a great stepping stone towards get growing towards DevOps. Or secondly, get a junior dev job, a software engineering job. However, that might be even harder than getting a DevOps job, depending on the market where you are. So those are two things that I generally recommend. And then, of course, in CubeCraft, we have the internship and we have the projects and we have so many more things that actually, like the whole CubeCraft Career Accelerator is actually designed to help you as a junior land your first job because that's what I did. I was a nurse. Uh, I had spent 2 years in a monastery, and I had the worst CV possible. Basically, I was in the worst position that was possible, but I did it, and I figured out a few ways to do this, and that's what I teach in my course. So hopefully this helps. Um, where is your setup? Is it office, home? It's really nice. We need a video on it. Thank you. That's a fun question. This is actually at home. This is my office workspace, and I have a really small apartment. I just have a my office, a bedroom, and a living room with a kitchen and a bathroom, and that's it. I mean, as a Dutchman, that's actually quite a lot of luxury to have that already. There's a huge housing crisis in the Netherlands, and I'm fortunate to have something like this. But yeah, I work from home, I record, I do everything from home. I'm very lucky that way. Misha, what's your opinion on the DevOps job market? Well, I mean, again, depends on where you are. Like here in the Netherlands, job market is popping. I'm getting messages every single day. Hey, do you want to get work with us? I got an offer for you. You want to drink coffee? Like here, it's popping. There's just so much work, and there's only more work coming with AI that's coming. However, it depends. I mean, in the States, I've heard it's more brutal. I still think people say it's brutal because they all want like the $300,000 salaries that they people were getting during COVID. But I think if you lower your expectations a bit and maybe look into like government, insurance kind of industries, it's easier to get a DevOps job. And yeah, in like the DevOps market is projected to grow by 20% in 10 years. I mean, any growing market needs more people. So I think the DevOps market is great. It's doing great. So that's just my view of it, how uh, and how it is here in Europe. What are the most important projects or apps to deploy in a home lab? Well, first of all, it's the apps that you like, that you want to do. That way it becomes more fun. Try to find self-hosted apps that you actually use every day. So I always keep saying LinkedIn. That's my bookmark manager. I'm using that everywhere on my phone. I use Audio Bookshelf, and I use Grafana for not just monitoring my home lab, but monitoring my health and all sorts of other things. So the most important things are the apps that you enjoy running in your home lab. And then secondly, I would say, like speaking about Grafana, go for a good monitoring stack, have a good monitoring stack, configure it properly, get your observability in order, alerting, that's very important. And also, I highly recommend learning how to deploy databases in Kubernetes and do that in your home lab. Like, I love databases. I have about 12 of them running right now, and learn how to do them, how to deploy them. And I have a video on that on my channel if you want to check that out. What are your thoughts on N8N? Do you think it's useful in the DevOps industry, and is it a good skill to learn for someone starting out in this field? Uh, I mean, yes, it is useful in the DevOps industry. I see potential for it. However, like anything you can, N8N is low code, so anything you can do in N8N, you can do with Python. And if you know Python, you can do a lot more than you can do with N8N. So, is it a good skill to learn for someone starting out in the field? I mean, I, honestly, if you are a DevOps engineer or if you're already learning Linux and Python, N8N is not something that you need to learn. Like, you just start using it. It's just clicking around, right? If you just understand data structures, it's just pulling in fields and outputting them, and it's just glue. It's low code. It's just a way to click Python code together, essentially. Even though N8N is not written in Python, of course, I believe it's Node. But anyway, I'm going to say no. It's not a good skill to learn for someone starting out in the field. It's better to focus on Python, Linux, and Kubernetes. Those are much more skills to learn, and this might just be a distraction if you're going for a DevOps job. Um, I often find myself paralyzed by indecision on where to start with a home lab. Is there a simple first step to get me going? Yes, there is. Get an old laptop. You are 90%, I'm 90% sure that you have an old laptop in your closet. If you don't have an old laptop in your closet, then ask your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandmother, all of your friends. And I'm 99.9% sure that one of them will have an old laptop in their closet. They might give it to you. You can clean their house and then they'll give it to you for free, or you can buy an old one. Then you take that laptop and then you install Linux on it. And ta-da, you have a home lab. You have a home server. It literally doesn't have to cost anything. You install Linux on it, maybe Ubuntu desktop, or maybe if you want to go into studying, use Ubuntu server, and then start running Docker containers on there, and start with a self-hosted application. For example, LinkedIn. Start with that. Get a laptop, install Linux, run LinkedIn in a Docker container, and go from there. From there, you can start looking into going deeper into Linux, Kubernetes, container orchestration, everything. But that is the first step. And then if you are looking into a Kubernetes Home Lab, then people really like my Kubernetes Home Lab course in CubeCraft. How big is DevSecOps in the Netherlands? How can I mix my cybersecurity knowledge with DevOps to be versatile and generally more employable? It's a good question. So I can't actually tell you how big DevSecOps is in the Netherlands. Um, in general, IT is booming in the Netherlands, so you can if you're a DevSecOps engineer, you'll get a job. And if you mix your cybersecurity knowledge with DevOps, like I I'm not a how do you call it? I'm not very knowledgeable in what cybersecurity professionals do, but I always have this feeling that if you are into cybersecurity, you should have a good understanding of Linux and coding and such like anyway, right? If you're how are you securing things if you don't understand what you're securing? So, but I know that many cybersecurity professionals don't have these skills, and I know that a lot of them they work a lot with like documents and compliancy and such like. And I might be completely wrong here. This is just what I am sort of getting through what people tell me. So it's not my field. I'm not very knowledgeable in it, but how you can mix that knowledge by learning the proper Linux fundamentals, and then or cloud engineering especially, and then start applying your cybersecurity knowledge to those environments on that level. So like really knowing how to secure enterprise environments, how to keep the attackers out. Uh, but coming from an infrastructure perspective, I think that would be a good way of mixing them. But yeah, in my opinion, any DevOps engineer should be a DevSecOps engineer. You should always be thinking about security. What would you say about a home lab project made of MMORPG, self-hosted Dockerized game, Zabbix monitoring on the other machine to check health parameters? This is perfect. Goku, you should go for it. It's almost perfect. The only thing I'm going to nag a bit on is Zabbix. I would not recommend going for Zabbix. It's much better to go for Grafana Prometheus. And it depends on if you're doing it on Kubernetes or not. But Grafana Prometheus, that's basically industry standard, and that's not going to change. So I would focus on that. I know Zabbix is used a lot too, but I think you'll learn more by doing Grafana Prometheus. And I actually started my career with automating games myself, RuneScape actually. So that's something that's close to my heart, and that's something that you will enjoy. So I would definitely do that. Gordon, could you share your thoughts on the top resources for learning Arch Linux? Well, the number one resource obviously is the Arch Wiki. That is the best resource. That's the best resource, installation guide, and that go through that. But please, please, for the love of God, learn how to encrypt your system. Do it. If you're running Linux right now and you're unencrypted, or you don't even know whether you're encrypted or not, you are not ready to Arch Linux. Sorry, but just go install Ubuntu first, and then you can go for that later. But do it properly. And that's the thing, the Arch Wiki doesn't tell you how to do that. So, well, it will tell you, but it won't be in the guide. So you have to figure it out yourself. And that's why the Arch Wiki is such a good guide, because it basically forces you to do these things. But you do need to know this. So if you want a better sort of step-by-step approach, then I have a course in CubeCraft about Arch Linux. You know what? I can just share that one since you ask. Let me see. Share. So hopefully you can see my screen now. I'm going to assume you can see it. So in CubeCraft, there is the Arch Linux course here. And this course First, it gives you a starter pack. So here you will learn how to install Ubuntu and get going. Basically, the process that that I told you earlier, to get a minimal home lab going. And then there is the Arch Linux course that will teach you. I basically built my own system that I'm actually running this from right now, and I'm showing you from start to finish, um, the introduction, the install medium, partitioning the disks, using LVM, um, encryption, mount order, bootloaders, everything. This is the whole setup up until a fully functional system using Hyperland. And yeah, I think I'm really happy with the result, but people love it too. And if you just go and check out the testimonials here, the I got the best compliment ever on this course. Let me just see. This is Drew. He gave me such a nice comment about the Arch Linux course. As a Linux user with decades of experience, I've used countless distributions. I've installed Arch dozens of times. Your course offered something new. What I valued most was the thoughtful philosophy behind it. You encourage a deeper understanding of each tool, which challenged my habit of simply accepting the default settings. Your course taught me the real value of tailoring my environment to my workflow. Well, Drew, thank you so much for saying this. Again, a Linux user with decades of experience who installed Arch many times, and still he says this course offered something new, and he loved it. So, yeah, people like what I've made there. I think it's a great resource. If you want to learn Arch Linux, that is definitely something to consider. Uh, wow, so many questions. Thank you so much, guys. Love to see it. Let me see. Agents are really hard, to be honest. It's really not as simple as the hype makes it sound like. Yeah, that's the thing. The all of the YouTube videos I watch about AI agents, initially they look really cool, and then you set them up. But if you see what the tasks they're actually performing, yeah, it's cool, but it's like a party trick, right? It's not actually something that is actually working for you on the background without you having to attend to it. That is my um, experience with AI agents so far, and it doesn't like it's fantastic technology, and in a year, 5 years, it is going to be amazing. But right now, it's just not there yet, basically. Uh, at CubeCraft, do you help people who are from other parts of the world get placed for DevOps opportunities in Europe, given that remote openings are far and few in DevOps? It no, that is it is something that I would love to do, and I'm considering it in the future to maybe expand my activities into that. But right now, it is I'm too busy with working freelance and as a DevOps engineer, and then teaching on the side. So this would be something that I would consider in the future, but right now that is it's not something that we do. However, it does provide a full network for you. Question from Arif. Sir, how to get internships as a student, and what are the tools I need to know, and what should be the level of understanding of the tools, and what is the best place to apply for internships? Wow, that's 10 questions packed into one. So let's go. How to get internships as a student. Start applying right away as you are studying already. Don't wait until you're done. Think ahead and start applying already. That's number one. What are the tools you need to know? Linux, containerization, one programming language. Those are the three things I would recommend. Start with those, and then if you it depends on where you get it, but if you're looking for a more cloud oriented, then obviously one cloud, get some experience with it. But again, it's an internship, so to your next question, what should be the level of understanding of the tools? It honestly doesn't have to be much. I mean, like Linux, you have to know if you have to be able to run a Linux system and to debug it. But seriously, if you're able to install Arch Linux the manly way, doing it with the install wiki without an install script and encrypting your drives, if you're manly enough to do that, you are far beyond a uh, intern level already in terms of Linux. And then Python, I would say like fundamentals, knowing what a function is, knowing what a variable is, being able to write scripts without AI, like simple programs, iterating over files and such like. If you have that level, if someone comes to me with that Arch Linux level and Python fundamentals, then I know they can be a successful intern and a junior engineer, in my opinion. And what's the best place to apply? I would say your local market or the market that you want to be in. So check out your local market. If there's nothing there, find a city or a place that you can move to and then um, apply there. That is the best place to apply. After learning all the basics, what's next? Yeah, that is that is the question. Well, that's basically when you're just when you will start finding things that you like more. You will find that some things interest you more than other things. So, for example, in my case, for some weird reason, I like databases and managing and hosting databases. So I'm specializing more in that area, and I've migrated big projects with databases, and that is an area of expertise that I like to do. But I also know people who go really deep into monitoring and who completely um, specialize in that. Other people go more towards a software engineering direction. So they learn Go well, and then they start writing Kubernetes operators. So that that will become clear when you start working, and you will find things that you like better. Oh, do we have some mic problems? S- Uh, Guys, can you tell me in the chat if you can hear me properly, or is there something wrong with my setup? I'm seeing some questions about microphones. Oh my god. Sound in my section is amazing. Thank you, Sarhan. Sarhan is the GOAT, by the way. Sarhan, you're amazing. Mike is good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Then I think I can continue. Sarhan is the GOAT. Uh, wow, I have to scroll up so much. Thank you for all the questions, guys. This is awesome. Okay. Uh, where was I? Oh, it's hard to see. Okay. Um, is it really possible to get into DevOps as a beginner? Is it a thing you need some experience in web development and then switch to DevOps later? If possible, which side of DevOps is considered? So, right off the bat, I'm going to say don't learn web development. Web development is, unless you like it as a hobby, but web development is basically outsourced to AI now. That like that, if you have tools like Lovable and like my brother, he is helping me with the business, and he created a website called CubeCraft.dev. And wait, we can even like, let me see, can I show that even here? CubeCraft.dev. This website is created by my brother, who never wrote a line of code in his whole life. And yeah, he's savvy with computers. He knows he knows how to work with computers, but he never coded. He never created a website in his entire life. But look at this. Like the logos, like our members at CubeCraft, they work at Google, Microsoft, IBM, and Nvidia. Look how beautiful this is. And it has all of the animations, everything. And my brother built this himself using Lovable. And it's just amazing. It's a beautiful website, responsive, works everywhere. And he did this with Lovable, lovable.dev. And yeah, web development is basically, I'm not going to say dead, but it's not a something that you should learn first. It's much better to learn Python, I would say, and learn backend automation, that kind of thing, and switch to DevOps later. Um, it is definitely possible to switch to DevOps, to get a DevOps job as a beginner. I'm the living proof of it. I was a nurse and I didn't have any formal IT experience, but I knew Linux from my hobby projects, and I was willing to work hard, and I was able to convince people that I was very passionate about my career change by building a strong online presence. And it is definitely something you can do. And you can either come from the software engineering side, or you can come from the infrastructure side, Linux system administration. But I would definitely, I think it's easier to start on the infrastructure side, and I also think it's more useful. Um, but it can definitely be done from the dev side, but it depends on where you are and if there are junior dev opportunities for you there. Okay, so there are so many questions in the chat that I can't see if I have done your question or not. So please, if you if you don't get your question answered, I'm very sorry, but there are so many questions coming in. Uh, but feel free to just repeat your question in the chat, and then I will try to get through it. My software doesn't allow me to pick them one by one, unfortunately. What do you see as the state of remote work environments, opportunities for juniors or experts? And a follow-up question, what platforms do you recommend to look for remote jobs like Upwork? Okay, so there is this Kubernetes job report. Let me see, can we, uh, uh, hold on here, share. Is it called Cube Careers? Cube Careers, Kubernetes jobs. They do these job trend reports, and they did one for Q1 in 2025. So first of all, it will show you, okay, Kubernetes job as an minimum average of 133K, maximum 183K. So an average of about 160. So definitely learn Kubernetes. That's why CubeCraft is designed around Kubernetes. And these are located in North America and Europe, mostly. And they do have something about remote work. Um, let's see here. Here, 68% of all the Kubernetes jobs allow remote work of some sort. This is not fully remote. This means that it is some sort of remote work. So, 31% of the Kubernetes jobs that were published were completely in office, whereas 70% were, um, I would assume hybrid here, that you have to be in office a couple of days a week and you can work the rest from home. And more than 60% of the jobs that mention remote work require them to work remotely in a specified geography. So 8% of the jobs here are fully remote. 8%. So that's less than 1/10 of all of the jobs were fully remote. So the state of it is hopeless. If you are if you are hell bent on getting a remote job, you are heavily um, putting yourself at a disadvantage because you're competing with thousands of more people, and you have a much higher chance if you just focus on hybrid non-remote jobs. So yeah, that is it. And when we're saying jobs, I'm thinking of uh, like being an employee, right? And but you're mentioning Upwork, and that is more like freelance. That's for freelancers, so one-off contracts, and that is a bigger opportunity for working remotely. Um, I don't recommend using platforms like Upwork. I think that's the worst way to get a remote jobs or contracts. The best way to do it is LinkedIn and building a professional network and doing that properly. Is CubeCraft Career Accelerator helpful for someone who is already experienced? He plays with Arch Linux like a toy. That's cool. I'm gonna say, of course, it's going to be helpful for you, especially if you are not into Kubernetes and containerization yet. Then you definitely have the right base because you have the Linux skills. But if you're not versed in Kubernetes and cloud native technology, then definitely it can help. But the thing about CubeCraft is the we don't just teach tech. Like the mistake all of us DevOps engineers make is we all get so hung up on the tools and the technology. We think that if we just learn Linux and Kubernetes, that's all we need to do, and then the jobs will start falling from the sky. And that is just such a huge mistake. Like DevOps is not a tools only job. And I admit that I also made this mistake. I heavily underestimated the people side of things and how much of work as a DevOps engineer actually involves uh, talking to stakeholders and convincing people that this or that solution is actually a better approach to it. You can get dev teams who are still storing stuff as CSV files locally on disk, and you have to get them to store things in databases because it's much easier for you to manage, it's more secure, etc. You need the skills, the people skills to convince, well, convince is not the right word, but to cooperate with these people and to explain what you're doing. And what makes CubeCraft unique is that yes, we teach the tools, we teach Arch Linux, we teach Kubernetes, we teach DevOps Masterclass, CI/CD, everything, Python. But that's only maybe 50% of what we teach. The other 50% what we teach is how to behave yourself, social skills, getting a good note-taking system in order, how to study. We all go to school for so many years, but we never actually learn how to study. um, how to present yourself, how to hold yourself in an interview, how to market yourself, how to build a proper LinkedIn presence, how to write a good CV, all of this stuff, all of this stuff, it's just so incredibly important for your career, but nobody talks about this and nobody teaches this. And that's why um, that's why I built this because it didn't exist. So sorry, I'm getting a bit excited about this, but in short, yes, it will help you if you're because we emphasize a lot of the other side as well. And CubeCraft is a community. It's not just a course, but you actually build a professional network and you help you get connections and like-minded people, which is very valuable. Okay. Um, how does a career DevOps transition with respect to Kubernetes? Can you give some insights about basic Kubernetes related tasks to advanced Kubernetes related tasks for a DevOps engineer? Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, let me pour some water here. Questions are on fire today, guys. So many good questions today. Thank you. Can you give some insights about basic Kubernetes related tasks to advanced Kubernetes related tasks for a DevOps engineer? So it again is so annoying to say this, but it completely depends. It depends on where you're working, what kind of tasks you're doing, because being the DevOps engineer can mean so many things, right? I've worked on teams where um, the Kubernetes platform was managed by a separate platform team. And then you would have dev teams, and each dev team would have a DevOps engineer or a DevOps specialist. So this DevOps specialist, all he could do was write the Kubernetes manifests and submit them to the platform engineering team, and they would then um, first of all, they would look at it and see if it was the right for their, if it was secure enough, it met their standards, etc. And then they would approve it, and GitOps would apply it. But the DevOps engineer there, he was not touching the cluster at all. He was just writing the manifests and handing it off to the platform team. So that, I would say, is a basic Kubernetes task. However, if you are, there are also DevOps teams who are more like platform teams, and who where you, if you are one of the DevOps engineers, well, you can be building, you can actually be setting up the Kubernetes clusters and securing them, configuring multi-tenancy and things like that. That can also be the task of a DevOps engineer, and that's the problem with the DevOps engineer title, which honestly shouldn't really be a title at all. However, it is still used that way. So in short, I would say basic Kubernetes tasks would be deploying things to it, configuring things in your own namespace, and advanced tasks are setting up the cluster, securing it, multi-tenancy, role-based access control, um, installing the infrastructure on there, your CNI, managing the networking, your operators, your database operator, Kyverno, policy as code, such things. Those are more the advanced related tasks. Cool. Let me scroll. Uh, I'm setting up a Kubernetes Home Lab. I love your name, by the way, random dude. I'm setting up Kubernetes Home Lab. I have two little CPUs. Should I go the Proxmox approach and set up two virtual nodes, or go with Talos and set up two physical nodes? Cool. I like this question. So first of all, I always say go metal first. So I, if you can avoid virtualization, it adds another layer of complexity, and it's I think you learn more if you just go bare metal the first time around, and then later if you have a bigger server, it's fine to go for virtualization. But your next question, go with Talos. If you're a beginner with Kubernetes, I don't recommend Talos at all. Talos is its own little rabbit hole. It's not that hard to learn, but it does, it, first of all, it abstracts a lot of away from you, which is great because that makes it much easier to manage. But you rob yourself from a lot of learning if you go directly for Talos. I think the best way to start is K3S. I think that's the it's the best balance between difficulty and your freedom of playing with things, where kubeadm would be the most extreme thing to do, which I don't recommend doing as a beginner at all, because it's just simply too difficult, and you don't make you make enough progress. It takes a long time to get things up and running. It's very overwhelming, and then many people burn out. So K3S is the way to do it, in my opinion. From Italy, still thinking about joining your channel. Cool, thank you so much. Hope to see you there. How do you see the future job prospects for traditional sysadmin roles compared to DevOps roles? Is it still worth pursuing sysadmin skills today, or should we shift entirely to DevOps? Well, Ed, I got good news for you because I think you are coming from the sysadmin side, and you should. It is definitely worth pursuing sysadmin skills. 100%, 100%. We have seen the shift towards the cloud, and that has been all the rage for so many years. But now you actually see a bit of a different shift where companies are moving to on-prem again. And that's where sysadmin is gold, right? That's where those are the guys who really know how to do that. So and I believe a good DevOps engineer is a good sysadmin as well. I don't think you can be a good DevOps engineer if you're not a good sysadmin. A DevOps engineer who doesn't know Linux, who doesn't isn't able to administer Linux systems, in my opinion, still has a lot to learn. Unless you work in a complete Microsoft shop and you're into Windows Server, okay, that's a different story. But a general DevOps engineer should have sysadmin skills. And sysadmin roles, I don't think they're going to go anywhere, especially in like government, like for example, the Dutch police, they run everything on Red Hat on-prem systems, huge systems, and they're screaming for people. It's super hard for them to get enough people. And these systems are like I have some people working there, and a few little birdies told me that these systems are horribly well, I can't say too much, but they need a lot of work. They need a lot of attention and updates and securing. So definitely, uh, definitely work for sysadmins in the time to come, especially because these kinds of systems is really hard to automate with AI. It's almost impossible, especially on-prem. I was thinking to get into DevOps by building web apps and taking through DevOps practices like Dockerize it, containerize it, setting up CI/CD and monitoring. Learn in public and build an amazing project. Hey, that's the way to go, man. Do it. And the only advice I would give you in this approach is don't focus too much on the web app side. Don't think about the web apps too much. Don't. It can be very tempting to start tinkering with your web app and to make it as beautiful as possible, but that's not the focus, right? Like just get a one page or a couple of pages and then focus on the actual DevOps skills. That's the only thing I would say. But otherwise, go ahead. Can you suggest some website names where I can and apply for opportunities in Kubernetes? Yes, number one, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the number one place to get jobs, period. You might not like it. Many people hate LinkedIn, but it is the best place. And it's not the best place for applying. No, it's a place to build a network and build a presence. And then when you build that presence, then people will come to you and ask you to come work for them. That is why LinkedIn is the best place because it's networking. I got all of my good jobs through LinkedIn. And otherwise, if you're really wanting to go the traditional route, um, uh, Indeed is still good. I find lots of jobs on Indeed, but there's also a place called Remote Rocket Ship. That's actually a nice place. Hey Misha, what's the new course you're planning to launch on Udemy? None. I'm not gonna play. I'm not. So all of the courses are in CubeCraft. Is it possible to practice Kubernetes cluster management in a home lab setting, for example, Kubernetes kind in Docker, or is there a better option? Yes, it's definitely possible. And that is how you build the skills. Like there's no Kubernetes university. You don't learn this when you're studying a CS degree. So it is the way to learn Kubernetes properly, in my opinion. And um, I don't recommend kind. Get a bare metal server, install K3s on it, and then build from there. Hi, Misha. You recommend Ubuntu for Linux Home Lab? Is Manjaro good for it? Yeah, sure. Manjaro is great. The reason why I recommend Ubuntu is because Ubuntu is still used in many, many, many companies. So, first of all, Ubuntu is very easy to learn. Lots of materials available on it, good books, free materials. But also, it is very, very relevant. So, Ubuntu, if you have Ubuntu servers at home and you're applying for a place where they use Ubuntu, then that's an immediate plus. Manjaro does not have that benefit, right? And yes, you can say, well, what about Arch then? But there's a different aspect to that. So um, Manjaro is Arch based, but it's an easy Arch. It's an automatic Arch Linux distribution, basically. And then you are, first of all, robbing yourself of the Arch learning experience, and you don't get the benefits of making it transferable to any jobs. However, if you do only Arch, then yes, companies don't use Arch Linux, but the skills you learn in building a proper Arch Linux system is what is necessary to run Linux. And they will give you the skills, the understanding to talk about these skills on interviews. That's why Arch Linux is so great. So Ubuntu for beginners on Home Lab. And if you're not going to use Ubuntu, uh, then you don't get that transferring. Another thing would be Rocky Linux, right? Rocky Linux is basically the free version of Red Hat. So if you're thinking of going towards a Red Hat shop, then it's better to use Rocky. I have an opportunity at work to finish my degree with an accelerated software development program. I'm thinking of combining that with my uh, current career accelerated membership. Thoughts? I think it's a great idea. If you have enough time for that, then you can, if you get, if you do the software development degree, then you can already start bringing in DevOps practices, right? So, for example, if you're writing software, like I don't know what your program looks like, but just for the sake of argument, let's assume that you're just doing replets, yeah, right? You are writing just replets in a browser-based thing. Probably not, but I'm just making something up. Then if you would take that and then, for example, Dockerize everything already, or use dev containers, or automate with CI/CD, doesn't have to be much, but if every project you build is actually automatically built into a container image through a CI/CD pipeline, you don't need to know that much in order to do that, but you still already give a DevOps twist to your current software development program. So definitely a possibility to combine those. Is it important to build one big project with showcasing exceptional skills or small projects showcasing each skill differently? Interesting question. Ooh, that's a very interesting question. Thank you, Chatham. Um, I need to think about this. Okay. Um, I I'm gonna say one big project is good if you can do it properly. If you go deep on it and you're managing to document it well in a way that it makes it consumable for someone, then one big project is a good thing. But the thing is, you need to um, make it consumable. So a recruiter or a hiring manager, you have to think about it, doesn't have time to absolutely go through all of your code and read your entire documentation, right? So it needs to be, it can be big, but it has to be enough that someone can wrap their mind around it very quickly. and but still have the depth that if someone wants to go deeper, so say you're in this third round and the lead DevOps engineer is investigating you and he can check out your project, then the depth should be there. So yeah, what I what I actually did was I my Kubernetes Home Lab is my big project basically, and I I, I just do everything. I go super deep in it, build it enterprise grade security. uh, I'm running databases on there, monitoring everything. That's all documented. But then I have smaller projects of containerized applications that are separate projects, but they are still being pulled into the Kubernetes Home Lab project because I'm running them there, and I'm referencing those on the project documentation. So again, the Kubernetes Home Lab is the perfect project to do. So yeah, it's I'm sorry, it's not a really good answer. The best answer is both. Do one big project and then pull in smaller projects. But I think there's value into doing one big one and going deep in there. Wow, there's so many questions coming in. I can't even scroll up anymore. Let me see. Uh, let me see. Yes, yes, yes. I've done that one. I've done that one. Uh, Sorry, there's so many questions here. Nice to see you live. Good to see you. I have a Talos cluster on Proxmox and still learning the storage bit for Synology. Should I go for Rancher instead? You can do the local path provisioner for sure. Start with that, and then then you have a way to get persistent volume claims, but they're just locally stored. Definitely a good one to do. Oh, sorry, Rancher. You said I was thinking of yeah, the. Should I go for Rancher instead? Well, Rancher is good to learn. Rancher is definitely popular, so it I would first investigate what is the company that you're working in using, or what's the company that you want to work in using. If you can figure out if they're using Talos or Rancher, then that's your answer. Rancher is getting more popular in Europe because on-prem is getting more popular because we don't want to be dependent on the EU. If you're already installed Talos Linux, then I would just continue with it, but you won't go wrong with Rancher either. Your soul whispers 17 minutes ago. Sorry, that was a long time ago, but hey, um, I've read great things about CubeCraft Career Accelerator. Can you show us how it's like inside the community? Let's go. Screen, Cube Careers. Okay, so this is what it's like inside the community. We have, wow, 777 members. Cool. And we have 33 people online right now. And as you can see, there are plenty of um, posts being made. 10 minutes ago, software development, and already 3 replies. SE Linux questions. Sammy just released a major CV course update. I mean, that's how active it is, right? So there's even while I'm live streaming, there's lots of stuff happening. So community-wise, it's amazing. And then you have 3,000 community posts, as you can see here in the bottom, that you can peruse or search. So anything that anything question you have has already been answered at some point. So if you do secrets, then you will have 149 community posts about Kubernetes secrets, for example. So you're really tapping into a hive mind of knowledge here. So that's great. Community is active. Then we have live coaching. So 3 times a week, there are coaching calls where I am there answering questions directly for about an hour. And then we have career onboarding calls to help you with your career. So that's 3 calls per week where you can ask me and the team questions directly. And then there's about 50 hours of courses that you can learn. Like I said, it is very heavy on, we are a lot on tools, but we also teach you the people side of things. So yes, you're going to learn Linux from A to Z. You're going to learn how to build a Arch Linux system. Then we're going to move into Kubernetes and the fundamentals of that. But then there's the LinkedIn mastery. So here you will learn how to build a proper LinkedIn profile and how to make the jobs come to you through networking. You'll get my full dev containers NeoVim setup. So this is already a 7-hour course where you'll learn exactly how to build a proper environment using DevOps, dev containers, um, Mies, NeoVim, everything. It's I wish I had this in the beginning. And of course, there is the Kubernetes Home Lab course. So we've been talking about Kubernetes Home Labs. Kubernetes Home Lab course, this will teach you how to build a Kubernetes Home Lab from start to finish. And you start with nothing. All you need is, I'm doing it on a Raspberry Pi, but you can do it on an old laptop, anything. And we're going to install K3s. I'm going to teach you about GitOps. I'm going to show you how to deploy um, applications from a Git repo. Then we're going to be configuring storage, security, exposing your application to the internet, managing secrets, and a full Capstone project. And then we're going to dive deeper into Kubernetes advanced stuff. So that has been the course that most people love most. And what you end up with is a home lab that you can showcase to the internet and use in your CV. Like many people have landed jobs because of this. For example, Eric, Eric here. How my home lab helped me land a senior SRE role, and he wants to give major credit to the hands-on experience he gained through CubeCraft and the home lab setup. So this course literally landed him a senior SRE role. And Mikola, he also did a post. Here he landed his first SRE position at a huge company, and he is explaining here. In the interview, he explained that he had a home lab cluster, and he was constantly experimenting there. And in the technical interview, he was doing questions about Kubernetes, and he was glad that he could tell about how traffic from the client gets to the pod because he spent a lot of time figuring it out, and that's because he has a home lab. So it literally will land you jobs. So it is that is what it looks like in the community. And the best thing about it is that yes, you have the courses, but you have the community. And if you ever get stuck, like here, for example, just now someone is asking a question about a Kubernetes Home Lab. Well, I'm going to be looking at this right after this and answer that question. So instead of sitting here for hours and hours and trying to figure that out himself, he just asks the question, and then me or another community member will come and then help him answer that question. And as you see here, I am online every single day answering questions and helping people. Like this is not, and this is a full year. CubeCraft is over a year now, and I've been online every single day, answering questions every single day, helping people. So I'm always here trying to help you, and that's what it's like in CubeCraft. So I hope that answered your question. What's your perspective on the DevOps cloud-related job market? I'm from Poland, and most of the DevOps job postings are for seniors, and cloud-related roles are often a hybrid of software engineering plus cloud tools. Yes, that is a trend that we're seeing these days. Uh, we see that companies are trying to offload DevOps and sysadmin roles to devs. That's something that is happening more and more now. So the developers are getting um, they're they're getting it a lot tougher. So um, what what's gonna happen is either the developers, software engineers are going to accept it, or they're going to say no. Because I know plenty of software engineers who are not interested in Kubernetes at all. And yes, they might deploy to Kubernetes, but if you ask them to set up the cluster and secure it and configure multi-tenancy, they don't want to be messing around with that. They want to build software. That's their expertise. They don't want to be messing around with net IP ranges and such like. So time will tell how this is going to go. My gut feeling, and it's just a feeling. Of course, I can't predict the future, but my feeling is that they're trying it, and then at some point there's going to be pushback, and then they're going to realize, okay, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to just do everything by the software engineers. Security is suffering, and all of our data got stolen. Maybe we need to hire professionals for this. That's what I think is going to happen. And most of the DevOps postings are for seniors. Yes, that is something that happens, and it depends on the market. Here in the Netherlands, there are lots of junior jobs as well, but senior positions doesn't mean that you can't apply. Like they want to have a senior, but if they're looking for a senior for several months and they can't get anyone, well, maybe they will consider someone more junior. So um, even if it says senior, don't be afraid to apply if you have the skills. I mean, a senior DevOps engineer doesn't have to mean anything. Like just today, I had an interaction, let's call it, with someone who claimed to be a senior, but who could not give me any details of what I would expect a senior to be. And no experience with Kubernetes, no idea, no clue about cloud native technology. And you can be very senior in one area, but that senior, if you are a Kubernetes shop, if that senior is very senior in Windows Server, then he has almost nothing to bring to the table if you're doing a cloud native shop based on Linux, right? So what is senior? Yeah. If you have the skills, if you're running a Kubernetes data center at home, just apply. If that's what they're asking for, if they're asking for Kubernetes skills, just apply and try. Don't feel like you're not good enough to at least apply or try. I mean, it can hurt. Hey, Misha, any advice on increasing LinkedIn connections? Feed overwhelms if we send connection to anyone. Yes, the thing here is you have to, of course, get people to send you connections. And one way of doing that is in CubeCraft, you actually get instant 250. I think we're over 300 now. There's a list of 300 LinkedIn connections that you get access to of all verified DevOps engineers that you can add. So that will almost instantly bring you to the 500 threshold. And otherwise, it is very good to engage on other people's posts. And when you just try to get into conversations with people, ask questions on comments. So if someone writes a comment, then comment on that comment with a question. And if they then answer or reply to your question, you send them a connection request, and then they will remember you, and they will think, oh yeah, okay, that guy, he seems like an interesting guy. Let's add him. But the best thing is to post content for sure. Uh, Home Lab is awesome. I've been working with Linux for more than 20 years and still have a blast learning all the different things I can do with Kubernetes. Yeah, that's the way to do it, Chris. Chris is a very valued member of the CubeCraft community. Thanks for showing your support here and sharing that with us. People say it takes years to be good at Kubernetes. Not sure if that is true. No, not. Uh, it's not definitely not true that it takes years, but it depends heavily on where you're coming from. Like if you have zero tech experience, if you have no if you have zero tech experience, then yes, it might take years to get good at it. One or 2 years, because you first have to learn Linux in order to get good at Kubernetes. If you have a strong foundation in in Linux, I'm sorry, if you already understand Linux and containerization, you can get good at Kubernetes in, depending how much time you have, but 3 to 6 months. You can get your CKS in 6 months if you have full, if you're studying full time. It will take more if you only can study an hour a day or so, but it's definitely not years, depending on where you're coming from. Okay. Uh, More questions. Okay. I'm starting to get a bit what do you call it? Distracted and unfocused. Like firing these questions for 1.5 hours. That is it is pretty intense. So I think we're gonna move towards the final questions here. But let me see. Wow, 69 people on YouTube. That's a lot. So I'll do a few more questions, but I do feel I'm running out of energy. So let's see. Um, I've been working in Kubernetes for 5+ years and use kubeadm, EKS with Terraform, but I've never set up a home lab on Kubernetes. Can you recommend a roadmap for home lab Kubernetes cluster setup? Well, I showed you the course that's in CubeCraft. That is the perfect roadmap to do it. Um, if if you don't want to do the course, then you have a lot of experience already. Then I would say K3S and GitOps and start from there. Thank you. I will pick the easy way out with those 300 connections. Yeah, I mean, why make it hard for yourself, right? Take the easy route, and if you get those 300 connections, then whenever you make a post, then you will share that post to significantly more people, and therefore they'll get more likes, you will get more spread. So it is a no-brainer. Like if you can get so many connections instantly, why not do it? Um, what, according to you, must be the capstone project for a college student or fresher to get hired, showcase a wide range of skills? Well, I've been like I'm a broken record, but the Kubernetes Home Lab is the prime example of this because it takes a lot of skills to do that. Might even be too much for a college student fresher, but I definitely think that's a good way to go. Alternatively, maybe writing your own Python API and then hosting that as a container and building that container yourself with a CI/CD pipeline, and then um, hosting that container on a service like Azure Container Apps. I think AWS, I'm not sure what it's called. I want to say Fargate, but that's not it. AWS also has a service where you give them a container image and they will bring it online for you. You can do that, and then you have some cloud skills as well. But especially the containerizing and building it with a CI/CD pipeline. That's the important one there. I have a year of SRE experience, thinking of taking a year to do a master's in cybersecurity to take the next step to becoming a DevSecOps expert. What are your thoughts? Ooh, I would say get some more experience in the field. Try to make it 2, 3 years. It depends if you can work besides your master's. But I would say do 3 years of SRE DevOps first, and then move on to cybersecurity. I think that will give you the best what do you call it, foundation for it. me see. Next question. Are you planning to include other payment options for CubeCraft Career other than the credit card option? Greetings from the Netherlands. Hey, dankjewel man. Goed je te zien. Nederlands represent. Um, the school platform is currently working on Google and Apple Pay, and it is coming very soon. So Google, Apple Pay is coming. It's something that's out of my control because I don't own the school platform, but they're working on it right now. So I hope I hope in August they will have it. So very soon you'll be able to pay without credit card as well. Okay, well, I think that's all of the questions I have in me for today, guys. Wow. I haven't counted, but I think it has been, I don't know, 30 questions, something like that. I hope you guys like this. If you like this, if you liked what I had to say today, then consider joining CubeCraft because I'm doing these calls 3 times a week. And then it's not like this with a chat, but then I can actually show you here. Hold on. Here. So how we actually run the calls is we just have a Google Meet like this, and people are just joining like this, and we're actually talking, right? So because because it's hosted with so many people, I can't let you come on the screen. But here in CubeCraft, the Q&A calls are actually like this, and you can share your screen, and then we're just debugging together. So yeah, if you liked what I had to say today, and if you need help with your career, CubeCraft is where you can get this kind of mentoring directly from me. But then we're actually in a call, right, with and doing group coaching instead of chatting and such like. So that is something you can consider. Okay, well, so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for all of the good questions. Keep up the good work, and remember, if it gets hard, if you're sending out applications and you're getting rejected time and time again, I have been there. I have been in that pain. I have felt that. And for months and months, I was trying so hard to get it. But if you don't give up, if you just keep working at it, if you surround yourself with the right people, if you make this your life's mission, then you will be able to get that job. So don't give up on yourself. Keep up the hard work because hard work never goes unnoticed. Please believe in yourself. I went from nurse to DevOps engineer. I did it. You can do it too. Just put in the hours of work and be honest to yourself. Am I really doing my best here? Think about that. And that the fact that you were here today was a good sign. You're actively working on yourself. So good for you. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for joining today. Hopefully, I'll see you around in CubeCraft or one of the communities. And all the best of luck to you. May you all be happy and well. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.